Well, I just want to tell you that, one of the things that really stuck out to me about you, and why I pursued the show was because of how your fans talk about you. It's really cool. Like, I know you know that, but you're doing these amazing, huge things in the world, yet like we can have cool conversations about iguanas and turtles and beverages, but like you obviously don't let it get to your head. You just are who you are. And that's like the best possible person to me on the planet, because you're just not letting the stuff get in the way. You're just who you are. So it's cool. I love it.
Thank you very well. That's a huge compliment. I mean, I don't even know what to say to that, except that I love what I get to do, but I really look at every opportunity to have a conversation with someone as an opportunity to speak into their lives in a positive way. So, and the only reason I'm here is because of the fans. Yeah. And awesome. that relationship. So I take it very seriously.
Yeah.
Clearly not myself seriously, but
life's too short.
But my flock of quail, man, those are.
Man, I love that flock of quail.
Yeah,
that's awesome. I love that.
Sure.
And so did you just get done with a Winnebago tour, 9,000 miles?
That was last summer. Yeah.
Okay,
so
cool.
we traversed America, 9,000 miles crisscross. It was incredible. It was, honestly, I tell people every time I have the opportunity, is if you have not seen the country that way from the road, there's no better way. And there's so many national treasures. It's like, it's endless. You can't see it all. I mean, 9,000 miles, we barely scratched the surface. A lot of miles.
It's crazy. And was there a point where you were like, man, I can't wait for this thing to kind of like stop, or like because that's a lot. You were going the whole time.
The opposite. I was like, okay, when do we head out on the Winnebago next? Like, where are we going? And it was really cool because we actually were able to go and snowbird in January in Florida with the Winnebago tour, which was completely wild. So we had teamed up with Campgrounds of America, KOAs, which is, you might think of, like, for those that don't know, you might think of, camping in the woods and all these kinds of things, which is awesome. Campgrounds of America has everything from, you can bring your tent, you can bring your RV, you can bring your Winnebago, or you can stay in a tiny, amazing little cabin. Some of them have hotels, some of them are resorts. Like, it kind of blew my mind. So we got to just, experience it all. So in Florida last January, we got to go live it up. I love it. I am meant to be on the road.
Are you?
Like, thank God this is my job.
Right.
I can't sit still. So
yeah, no, I hear you. It's interesting because I have a crazy story about KOA. By the way, I just switched camera angles, just so you know, just so you're not like, whoa, what's happening? I put it in a gallery mode so people can see both of us.
Ooh, but, hello. So are people watching?
Let me tell you, I get fancy with
what's going on.
I get fancy with my stuff.
Okay, cool.
No, so this is a pre-recorded show. Everybody out there is going to just be able to listen to it on the website whenever they want.
Very cool.
I feel like our conversation is going to be so random and so we're going to need part 2 and 3, which I'm open to. Okay, I'm open to it. But I have a funny. I'm going to keep it short, but I have a funny story about KOA. When I was a kid, 11. I just got this. I think it was a Red Ryder BB gun. Like an old school Red Ryder BB gun.
I think I had one of those.
Itching to use it. So we go into this old abandoned, what we thought was old and abandoned campground, right? And we find this shed that has all these glass panels around it, right? So we decide this old shed needs to come down anyway. We're going to shoot out every last glass panel in the shed. We shoot out all the glass panels. The owner comes out from the woods somewhere.
No.
Flips out, right? It's not the worst part of the story. The worst part of the story is that we get taken to my uncle's house and, reprimanded. And then the scariest thing I've ever seen, he takes the Red Ryder BB gun and he breaks it over his knee. This is a metal.
Your
BB
uncle?
gun. Yes. Just goes, breaks the thing over his knee. In that moment, I'm literally in awe, thinking I'm gonna die. Like the next thing that's gonna break over his knee is me.
It's me, yeah.
And that's my story of KOA. I shot out glass.
I think it's time we have a news story for you. I think you're going to have to go back as an adult and rekindle that. Yeah.
I know.
That is crazy.
So, yeah. So if any KOA people are out there listening to this, I'm
He's
sorry.
sorry. He did not
sorry.
know.
Exactly. I did not know.
Wow. Your uncle's strong.
He's crazy strong.
That's amazing.
Broke a Red Rider, and those were like the old school ones, the metal.
Yeah, they're like the really, really heavy duty. Like,
no plastic on them or anything. Crazy.
But I mean, that'll teach you.
Right? When you see that as a kid, it scars you for life.
You're like, I don't have to ever do that again.
For life.
That's so interesting.
Yeah. So,
wow.
Okay. So one thing I want to ask you, because I think it's so
away.
cool, is how do you stay grounded when you have all of this attention coming towards you? If someone just so happens to Google you and they see that Nashville is raving about you, you're this amazing up and comer, you're doing all these amazing things with the American Heart Association, with women, and Go Red, I believe it's called, for
Go Red for Women movement.
Go Red for Women.
Yeah.
Yep. You've got these country celebrities that have been in the game for 30, 40 years that are saying country music will never be the same without you. So, and then at the end of the day, here you are, and we're talking about iguanas and lizards and beverages and
right.
how cool it is to travel across the country and all this. But what do you think about on a daily basis? Like, what keeps you grounded?
Well, I just feel such a huge responsibility to do great work, from making great music to making great impact, that I don't really ever slow down and reflect and get caught up in the moment, because I recognize the moment. Every moment that, and when I mean this, like getting inducted into the CMT Next Women of Country is a huge honor. And I'm still grasping it. I've been, working my tail off, and I have an incredible team that works night and day, and there's so much passion, and there's so many people that are sharing our music, like yourself, sharing my story and my voice, and that I don't really look at it as a me thing at all. It's an us thing, and it's the coolest opportunity now. Obviously, with social media, we can share all these moments in real time versus like, Stephanie, blah, blah, blah. Now it's like, guys, we just did this, and it's in real time. And I think that for me, I'm just part of it. I so appreciate that these things are said, but I take it very seriously, and I take my music very seriously, and I want to make and create cool stuff that tests time and that really exposes people's emotions in ways that only music can. But at the same time, it's not just me. It's such an effort of so many incredible people that I'm just excited I get to be the voice.
Let me ask you, when you are doing these amazing things, like traveling 9,000 miles across the country and, visiting these amazing places and performing, do you have any strategies that you use in order to kind of stay on top of your game? Because I know it can be tiring, right? When you're giving of yourself, your songs, people are wanting your time. Like, are there any top secrets that you can give to people out there to like maintain a high amount of energy and just keep going?
Absolutely. I think this is probably the greatest lesson that I've learned over the course of it is, I've always been kind of a health junkie from the standpoint of what can give me a competitive edge on the health side, because my job is right here. If I go down, if I can't sing, if I get sick, that affects a lot of people. And from my team to the fans and the money and the investment made, I cherish that, because someone taking the time to come watch a concert of ours is like, you could be doing anything and you want to see me, I take it very seriously. So for me, health is a huge aspect of my life, from what I eat, what I drink, the supplements I take,
Yeah.
I think the biggest kind of aha moment that I've had recently that has really changed my inner course, like the course within myself and how I navigate my days, because there's so many different things coming at me all the time, super highs. And then there could be like a punch in the gut all within 30 minutes.
Yeah.
It's just the nature of business, and is how I react. My reaction has everything to do with how it impacts every cell in my body, and then how that impacts others. So something that I've really been focused on kind of and trying to completely own is how to handle stress. I work really well with lots of stress, and I think there's a certain level of stress that certain types are driven by, and that I feed off of that. That doesn't make me nervous. Like having more to do doesn't freak me out. Yeah. But I think the reaction is something that I've really been focused on for myself, because I feel like stress can make you sick faster than anything else.
For sure.
So how to navigate that, and then complement it with, you got to take care of yourself. You got to work out. You got to drink tons of water. You got to know yourself. Yeah. And I love the terminology biohack. When you hack your own bio to figure out. So right now I'm really hopped up on the genome.
Cool.
I'm like geeking out on it really hardcore. I'm like, who knew? There's so much going on in there. You got to take care of it.
Have you looked at your genetics?
So I'm just starting to. So I did. So
I got to talk with you.
What?
About that. I mean, there's so many cutting edge things you can look at.
Yes.
I'll send you some things.
Yes, please do. So I did the 23andMe, which was super fun to learn.
Okay, cool.
I might have Spanish descent on my mom's side, which is very cool. I have all kinds of thoughts. And then I just did the nutrition genome.
Okay. Yeah.
It's going to be fascinating, where it really breaks down how your genes, what if my genes don't like caffeination? I love coffee. These are things that, I'm learning about. Yeah. So it's fascinating. And I think that when you can really, please send me everything, because I love this stuff. I really do geek out on it in all the right ways. I love nerdy, geeky behavior for I love it.
Absolutely.
I love information. Information is power. It's gold.
It is. Yeah. It's funny. I recently found out that I'm a slow metabolizer of caffeine. And
so did you stop?
Oh man. So it's hard because, I was so used to this pattern of getting the caffeine into my system, whether it was matcha tea or coffee.
Yeah.
But I seriously go through the roof with caffeine. Like I literally get inspired. I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to go out and create the next nonprofit, thing that's going to change it's like my mind starts going crazy a little bit. So I do have to watch it, because also if I'm in a stressful situation, right, the caffeine can send me into a frenzy as well. Yeah. So
the word adrenaline and cortisol.
Exactly. Exactly.
Friends and foes.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
Exactly. That's right. You're exactly right. Yeah. Some people can do the Red Bull stuff, and I can't do that. Can you do it?
I try to stay away from anything artificial.
Good.
So if I'm going to have coffee, it's single small batch, mold free, vetted. I geek it. Like I said, I like to know the process. Yes. So I have to make sure. And then, I don't really do any kind of soft drinks. Every now and then I'll do black iced tea and sweet if I need a little something. Yeah. But, I kind of just get fired up, mentally. And then I can, I could be so tired. And then boom, it's just it's on.
You're on that quick.
I get to go to the stage and sing my heart out to the flock of quail. Let's go.
I love that. I love the flock of quail. I love that you named it the flock of quail. I think it's awesome.
It's the best. And what's so cool about that is that we didn't really know if it was going to, resonate. And it's been really cool to watch it just take flight. No pun intent, all the puns. And all the puns. And even at we had a radio event And one of the guys in the audience, he just looked at me and he was like,
yes. And you flipped.
I flipped. And I had to stop. I'm like, did everybody just see what happened?
Right.
Because that was awesome.
Right.
Yeah. Cool. It's
yeah.
cool. I mean, I think we all love to be involved in community. And I think that that's what's so cool about country music is it's really a community.
Yeah.
And, we have our tribes and it's an inclusive world. It's good.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
As far as, placing yourself around people that are going to build you up and help you reach new heights in your life, in your relationships, in all the things that you're into.
Sure.
Is there somebody that sticks out to you that's just really been a mover and a shaker for you in that area?
That's interesting. Interesting question because I have people that I work with every day. Like I work with my friends.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So there's this incredible, they say like you are the 5 people around you.
For sure.
And so when I think about the people that I get to spend my time with and who inspire me, it's my team and my husband. It's
cool.
really cool. And I think that, having people around you who challenge you, I think that you have to be really careful of yes people. And I'm really fortunate that I don't have that. I have the
you have all the no people around.
I have all the really super honest,
the safe people.
They will not hold back. Tell me what they
awesome.
really think. Like I think I said yesterday, I was like, wow, I navigate a lot of opinions. It's weird to say that I am the product, but the music and the brand, that is the same thing. Right. Yeah. So, and myself and I'm the so it's this, so I kind of, sometimes I'm like, oh, I think I took that pretty well, or like, tell me more, please.
Right.
So it's just a different business,
That's cool. That's really cool. Okay. So along the lines of, maintaining your performance, you said stress, maintaining your stress, being aware, being mindful. Talk about movement when you're on the road. Is that difficult to maintain a good exercise regimen when you're on the road?
No, because you can throw on your running shoes and get outside that Winnebago and you just take to the road, street, hill, field, whatever it takes. I find that I've always loved running since I was a little kid. I think there's just so much freedom in the feeling of just taking off. You don't need anyone else to do it. You just go. So it connects freedom to me. And so I think that's probably why it still is so, I find myself still doing it, but I balance out running with yoga. That's cool. I have to yin and yang that, because I want to have, I want to be able to walk and run in 50, 60 years.
Yes.
So I do a lot of interval running. I love that. And if it's cold, I bring layers. If it's hot, then I sweat.
Yep.
It's all good.
I love it. And do you find that you gravitate more towards running? There's a mindset thing involved with it, right? Yeah.
I do a lot of mantras when I run.
You do? Okay.
Yeah.
And what is it, like affirmation type stuff?
All affirmation. I think of my brain as like, it's constantly recording what we say. So why would we impact it with anything negative? Why, it's like, I think like we can't control what other people have to say to us. We get to decide how we receive it. And then like, I think I've been doing that though most of my life. I remember having interviews with myself, with like who who I hope to have interviews with, as I grew in my career, while stuck in traffic for 2 hours.
Wow.
And like really, asserting myself of what's my point. It has to be more than just the, yes, I want to sell out stadiums, and yes, I want to be number one, and yes, I want to write number one songs, and yes, I want to have this global impact, but what's the point if the purpose isn't positive, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So that to me is where I always go. So I'm like, I mean, if anyone ever saw me running, they'd be like, who is she talking to? Does
Exactly.
she realize what she's doing in public? But it's okay. I think it's okay. You do you. It's good.
Exactly. That's right. You're obviously not ashamed. And I love it because, life's too short not to be weird and laugh at yourself and have those conversations.
Sure. Weird, man. I mean, like,
you gotta be.
Okay. Yeah,
gotta
I
be.
think it's good.
Yeah.
I think when you own your flaws and you own that narrative, then no one can use it against you.
Yes.
And you don't allow someone else to have that power. And
yes.
I mean, that takes time. You figure it out, and then there's sometimes where you have to figure it out on the spot. Like if you busted on stage or something happens,
have you busted on stage yet?
Of course. You
have.
Trip on a stair, or I mean, things just life happens to us all. It doesn't matter what or how. It's just, make it fun, make it, if I can make someone laugh at my expense, I'm all for it.
Yep.
That's cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a friend that he swore to himself that he would never get a tattoo, but if he got a tattoo, it would be something funny so that when he looked at it 50 years from now and it was like kind of saggy, he could laugh at it,
That's funny.
And that's always been, it is, because that's always been my mantra with tattoos too. I don't have any tattoos yet.
I don't either. I have no tattoo.
Yeah, me neither. But because I haven't found that one though. I haven't found, like, if I found it, I may do it. But, I'm Sicilian. So I'm like, I think it would be cool to get like a Sicilian, like, the Scottish have their like
the coat of arms. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
The Sicilians, I don't think we have like wine, that we don't have any coat of arms. Like we have pasta and wine. So I don't want a pasta and wine tattoo, but, I feel like it's coming. I feel like maybe it's out there somewhere. I haven't found it yet though, but I would put something funny on me if to laugh at. I kind of think that's cool. If you can laugh at it. Yeah. So.
Well, see, I can just look at myself anytime and find a reason to laugh at something.
Love it.
To do with, but it's interesting. I never got into the tattoos either. Yeah. I love seeing them on other people, and I'm like, and I start thinking that I think that I would then I would be like, oh, well, I have a quail. Now I'll need a flock of quail. And then, all of a sudden I'd be the tattooed lady. And
up your neck.
It would be everywhere. And then Post Malone would be like, where'd she come from?
Totally. Absolutely. So when it comes to, I like the mindset talk, because I feel like you're the world that you're in, you're getting, people can be critical, people can be positive. Do you entertain, like, do you go online and look at what people are posting about you, saying about you, all that? You do? You everything.
I look at it all.
You're in it. I look
at it all.
And so because you're obviously confident with yourself and what you do and the mission and the vision. I think that's the most important thing, right? Because you can say, actually, well, that's not true, or this is true, or whatever.
Sure.
But how do you block out the stuff doesn't need to be there when you're looking at all that stuff all the time?
At the end of the day, not everybody has to like me.
Yeah.
And I'm really okay with that.
Yeah.
I think that the fascination I have with, it's interesting as the awareness grows, then and the conversations grow, and then, the good and the bad and the ugly and everything, you start to really see it. And I'm fortunate in that I've had a lot of life in the short time I've been on this earth, of experiences where I have a pretty good, like, what's really important to me and what really matters and who really matters. Mm-hmm. And I have a good filter of how I react and how I let stuff impact me. Most of the time, I find it fascinating that someone would go to the effort when they have an opportunity to say anything or nothing.
Yeah. That
the choice is negative. So I'm more fascinated in the psychology behind that I guess I've never done that before. Like, I've never watched or listened to music, watched a video or listened to a song and then, like, gone out of my way to make sure everyone knows how much I hate it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Or or how much I dislike a person. Like that kind of effort towards that's just something that's very foreign to me. So now from a standpoint of being bullied or having like that direct interaction, that I'm very familiar with.
Yeah.
But the social media conversations that occur, I find it fascinating that, you know, I wonder how many would have the courage to actually say that to the person's face. And I think a lot of times people look at, you know, the arts and music and sports and athletes and, you know, across the board, anyone who has, who's a bit of, you know, public figure or has that awareness, that they forget they're human.
Yeah.
That is. And so I'm fascinated by it. I refuse to let anyone get my goat. I'm not going to give them the, now have I wanted to maybe,
I bet,
say a few things?
Choice words.
Yes.
Yep.
But then I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to keep doing what I do and hope that person, whatever's really bothering them, that they figure it out.
Yeah.
Because it's not at all about what they're writing about.
I love that. Because I find oftentimes when you go the high road that there's much more opportunity to take those types of people with you. Meaning, if somebody sees you turn and be like, you know what, I'm just going to keep doing my thing and keep making a positive impact. And hopefully your heart changes, right? I mean,
I think that's a very well said.
We're going to go, right? That's really cool. I love that.
Yeah. And I think too, it's like and kind of going back to the positive, negative, you know, how many times people focus on the negative when there's so much good and there's so much positive. And if those conversations started being more relevant and the balance started to go more positive, just in our day-to-day communication. Yeah. Right. I could go down a rabbit hole of, well, blah, 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 and have that kind of woe is me. That's not who I am. I've never been that way. And I think it's really important to ingrain and teach that with others as well, because I think it gives you such an ability to navigate life. You know, like life happens to everyone. No one doesn't get touched by life.
Yeah.
So I that's my mission in life, is to inspire every person I encounter with something, you know, if it's a smile, if it's
that's cool, taking
on the world, whatever it is, that they do it with a positive, like let the good lead you.
Yeah. So. I love it.
Soapboxing. Sorry.
You recently were invited to sing in front of all 5 presidents, right? All five living presidents.
Yeah, that happens.
Just a day in the life of Stephanie Quayle.
It's ridiculous.
You know, but here's it. I think too, Steph, like you know who you are. And when you know who you are, it's like you live it. And I think those things are just, you attract it. Obviously you work hard as well, but there's an element of just being able to attract things when you just you're unapologetically you. Yeah. And you walked out on that stage and like you crushed it. Like you just, it was like, yeah, I do this every day for 5 presidents. So like it was like, and so I want to delve into that because I think it's amazing. I think you could speak a lot into women, men. Like I think nowadays, sometimes, you know, it's hard to tap into that confidence because you're like, you know, what if, again, like we get in our heads. Like I know for me, I've gotten in my head in the past, like what are people going to think? Am I going to screw it up? Am I going to trip? Whatever. But you walked out and you were just booming voice. You crushed it.
Well,
how are you?
Thank you.
Absolutely.
One of my absolute favorite quotes ever heard out of the mouths of babes was Harry Connick Jr. quoted Liza Minnelli and what she said to his daughter. And it was, you have to be prepared for luck. I remember hearing that quote, and it was, you know, he was doing a performance in Q&A that I got to see years ago. And that phrase stuck in my being, and it changed my game with how I prepare.
Wow.
You know, the amount of hours I practiced singing, performing, practicing my instruments, writing, all my different things that I touch on the music side, and then also on the business side, from books I read, seminars I take. I do a lot of self-investment.
Yeah.
And I think that was that opportunity that you cannot turn it down. Like, you have to figure it out.
Yeah.
And fortunately, I was prepared in a lot of other ways, you know, with my craft, to be able to have conversations with people that are deciding, you know, whether or not you're doing this, the songs that you're going to sing, that collaborative effort, and walking out on that stage and wanting to represent my country, the people that are there giving so much money to our hurricane victims. I thought about my grandfather. He used to, who's no longer with us, but he, you know, he was in the House of Representatives for the state of Montana. So that for so many years, so there were so many different things going on in my head amidst that at the end of the day, you know, when you say you walked out so confident, I'm like, I'm so glad, because inside my brain, it's like, do not screw this up.
Right.
And it's interesting because we had the opportunity to meet the presidents prior to the performance, and which was ridiculously wild.
Wow.
You know, never in my life did I ever imagine. Right.
That's so cool.
And so we had this opportunity, but because I love people, and as soon as I meet them, they become a part of the flock of quail. You know, like I forget where, you know, so I get out on stage and I've got my, you know, my ears in and I've got the microphone. I walk out and I didn't know where the presidents would be seated. Yeah. I don't know if you caught this one, you might've seen the video, but so, you know, I'm walking out. That's not, but you know, and they're in the front row. And I'm like, oh, hey guys.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. Wow. Right in the front.
Oh, hey guys. Like
splash zone, you know?
And you know, I had no idea that came out of my face until after, when, you know, I get off the stage, and then the emotion and the just flooded with like, that'll never happen again.
Crazy.
And to really recognize that and go, holy moly, what an honor.
Right. And
then to watch the video back of me saying, hey guys, to the prayer, I was just like, oh, come on, Quayle. Like,
I love it though.
Oh my goodness. That's so cool. And the relationships through opportunities that you get to build upon. And it's just really spectacular. It's awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. What are you looking forward to in 2019? Like what most excites you about this coming year?
The music.
Yeah.
I got off the road the end of October. I'd been on the road since January 4th.
Okay.
So we started our radio tour because Selfish went to the radio last fall. So right after the president's event. And then we worked that single at radio. So we were out visiting radio stations every single day, essentially from January 4th until end of October. With different events and such, where you're performing, or, you know, it's just amidst touring and doing dates. So pretty extensive. And so what was interesting for me was that I was so, you know, I had my blinders on, and it was all about that song at the radio and getting it up the charts and getting it heard by the masses and having impact, that I wasn't sure I was even a songwriter anymore, which is so ridiculous because I've been writing songs for forever. But to find that place in myself again where I could be creative and really honor myself and representing my voice to the listener, to where it's that connection that I live for every day, right? To where I'm making music where I'm like, this is worthy of them taking the time to listen. So it was really, it took a minute. It took a few songs and a minute, meaning days, for that rhythm to come back together. Right. And me as a songwriter, now it's like the floodgates are open. So, you know, with every song that I think is like the greatest song, then a greater song. And so it's just this excitement. And I'm so excited to share the music. And when I say music for 2019, I just can't wait for, me to give that to the flock of quail and to new listeners and listeners maybe that hate country music that maybe will take a listen.
Yep.
So
absolutely.
It's really cool. It's cool.
Yeah.
I love being creative. You know, it's just the best. So
what inspires you, Steph? Like when you're out in nature, is there things that you read that actually gets your creative juices flowing?
All of the above. I mean, I'm a professional eavesdropper. Like I
love it.
Own that. I would wear that as a t-shirt. Like if you're talking, I'm listening, because, you have these little moments in life, you might be walking through an airport and you hear someone say something to someone else, or you see something. I'm a very visual person too. So I love the power of music videos.
Yes.
And so I might see a scene in an airport and then I create the whole story of what's going on, which I have no idea. These are strangers. But in my mind, I'm like, okay, so this is what's happening. And then it creates a song or a moment. And then I take that either into a co-write, or I sit down at the piano or guitar and just let it go. And then my personal life, I mean, I'm in love. I love my husband. I never liked love songs prior. I mean, I was the worst. I felt like such a fraud because I'd be like singing a love song. I'm like, I don't buy this. Like this doesn't happen,
Right.
And then I, turned into Buddy the Elf.
So. That is awesome. That is awesome. Good.
No, but one thing I do find is that with the music that I put out and I share, there are certain places that I don't sing about, and that's a choice because it's not something that my voice has to be authentic all the time. I can't, if I don't believe it, then how can I expect someone else to?
Right. 100%. Wow.
Yeah. So
are you a big reader? You read books?
Yes.
You do? Okay. Eat them up.
I love books.
Okay.
I love reading, like actual books. Like it has to be like this.
Yeah. No Kindle. Yeah. Your book doesn't go.
I can't do that. I need like a highlighter. I go old school. It's like
I love it. I am too.
I like dog ear. All the page. Is it dog ear?
Yep. Dog ear. Yep.
All the pages. Yeah.
And is there a book that sticks out to you that you've read? Could be 6 months, could be a year, could be your entire life. Like something that has really moved you recently.
Yes. Oh, well, I mean, I'm kind of ravenous for books about how an idea became what it is, like a household name or a household item. So The Tipping Point is the favorite.
Yeah.
And Made to Stick is awesome.
Okay.
And that's got like, it's orange on the cover. I can't remember who wrote it, but it's got like, it looks like a piece of duct tape around it.
Made to Stick. Yeah.
Made to Stick. You know which one I'm talking about?
I do.
So I love that because my brain's kind of like, I don't know, I split. Because I'm an independent artist and I have the ability to, move things quickly, in the event that opportunities come up. I think, and I love out of the box marketing. And, when people say can't, I say watch. When people say no, I say next opportunity, which I love, which I wish I would have come up with, but that was my friend, how to do when people say you can't. And I love books that talk about these, ways in which people found a way.
Yeah.
And I think that also Why Not Me is a great, like, self-influencer, if they can, why not me?
Yeah. And
that's not, I don't think that has to do with anything other than everyone can do anything. Now me playing in the NBA will probably not happen.
I wouldn't doubt it, Steph. I mean,
now I'm going to speak relatively, there's certain things that, if you're tone deaf and maybe you won't sing, but but relatively speaking, all of us have access and the ability to build our dreams. And that is the coolest thing ever. Like,
it is.
I don't know how anyone can wake up and not be happy about that and excited. And, make sure you do what you love. Because if you love it, it's not work.
You're right.
It's just cool. It's tiring. You might have to like wear more concealer, but who cares? All right.
That's going to be the Twitter line that we get from this conversation. You might have to wear more concealer.
Yeah. Okay.
Steph Quayle.
Yeah, you might. Big deal.
So when it, gosh, that just like totally got me off track on my next question.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
It was such an awesome. When it comes to, so talking about self-growth, talking about being intentional. I wanted to ask you about your happiness. Like you obviously, you make it a point to guard that. Like I feel like you do.
Yeah.
Do you, like, is there something you do to protect your happiness in your life?
Well, so I have an interesting relationship with happiness, the word. Mm-hmm. So I think that happiness is ever moving and joy is inside of you. So I think that if you can create joy and you have joy, that's not something that someone can do for you. Right? Yeah. So we might say, oh, you make me so happy. You make me so mad, right? Like those are phrases that we've all used in our lives at some point.
Yeah.
But joy is yours. Joy is like, no matter what. Everything could be like falling apart, but that joy is your stabilizer.
That's right.
And I think that I absolutely make that a point of every single day to make sure I check in and I recognize that what a gift this life is. And if I can, walk that joy line, then happy, sad, whatever happens on the sides of that, it's all good. It's all good. Only good will come of this. That is what my mom says in one of my most darkest, heaviest moments of my life. When I thought it was like really, like it was my personal like tipping point. Honestly, it was a point in my life where I never thought I would sing again. 2009, wow. My world was shattered to a million pieces. And my mom said to me, I kid you not, she goes, only good will come of this. And I was like, when your mom tells you things, like,
right.
Like, really? Like, right. Yeah. But it's another one that has just stuck with me. So in times of distress or when things are going sideways, I just say to myself, only good will come of this. And it kind of like takes it back. Yeah. Does that make sense? It doesn't allow it to just go wild.
It steers it, right?
Steers it. That's a great word.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's so true. The power of words and what shifting your mindset can do in a situation. Cause I think very similarly when like a challenge comes up, it's like, no, this is a stepping stone. This is just going to make me better.
Right.
Eventually. And it does. It shifts the agenda. That's really cool.
Right. And how to take criticism and make it something that is an asset versus which is a work in progress for all of us.
Right.
But yes. I find that I'm like, okay, if I'm asking your opinion, then I should be open to whatever that criticism might be. And I think to be able to take critique and criticism and not let it like throw you, but go, okay, what can I learn from this? Is there any little slice or nugget of information that can make me better?
Right.
Then it's worth it.
Yeah.
And if not, then you just smile and let it go.
Yep. I was going to say duck off a water's back, but it's water off a duck's back.
Be a duck, not a sponge.
Yes. Absolutely. Another Twitter line.
Duck, not a sponge.
Right, duck, not a sponge.
Yeah. That's a great one too.
Quayle, not a sponge.
That. Right. That's true.
Does that make sense?
People get so confused about
That's true. That's true.
Duck, but everyone knows what a duck is.
Knows. Okay. All right.
I don't know if quail swim. I don't know if they take baths. I'm not sure. Right. I don't yet have my little covey of quail yet. Like one day on our farm, we have a farm in North Carolina, and I would love to have little quail running around. Not like as in baby children, but as in the quail bird.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I love it. I don't know much about quail either, but I do know that they're in flocks, and that's
Well, so in the terminology of bird hunters, it would be a covey, and I learned that.
Covey.
But see, I already knew that, but
You did.
I was schooled it on social media, which I loved.
Love that. And
yeah,
are you a hunter?
No.
Oh, you're not. Okay.
No.
Don't do any of that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I don't hunt. You know, it's interesting though, because I grew up in Montana. My dad owned a gun range. So, you know, I grew up, I grew up a full blown tomboy.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. You're like all my daughters. So I have 3 girls, and then we have.
You have 3 daughters?
I do.
Are you ready for this? Please tell me their ages.
They are. So Allie's 7, Naomi's 4, and Lane is 2.
I'm already obsessed with them.
And if they were here, I would totally bring them up and introduce them.
Oh my goodness.
Because Allie would flip out over you, by the way, because she's learning guitar right now.
Yes.
And my other niece across the street, we'll have to, honestly.
We'll have to do like another.
We have to. If we have a cul-de-sac, it'd be awesome. It'd be really, really cool. If you're in Florida, please,
I'll just show up.
Seriously, we'd love to have you do a double date, whatever.
So fun.
Does your husband travel with you, or is he?
Usually not via the road. He'll be like, "Where will you be?" And I will
fly,
get on an airplane and.
I got you. But we have a cul-de-sac of girls. We have 9 grandgirls.
How fun is that?
In my family. It's cool. Wow. It's really cool. Yeah.
So yeah, welcome to Ladytown.
Estrogen Nation.
Yes.
I was going to say, I'm going to buy a male Chihuahua. Eventually, I'm going to buy a male Chihuahua just to get the testosterone in the house.
I have a Chihuahua mix mutt.
You do?
He's a little dude, and it is hysterical how much he just.
I love them. I do. I like the nice ones. I have been attacked by a Chihuahua before. Like literally, they can be the meanest dogs in the world, but then they can also be really awesome.
Yeah, they're kind of like gremlins.
They are. They really are. So that's in my future. Having a little, testosterone walking around.
See, this is why these conversations are so important, because when I think about your daughters and, the opportunities for them,
for sure.
It just like every year that goes by, it just increases. And I was just hanging out with this incredible female welder, and we were talking about, her scope through learning that trade, and the opportunities for different occupations for her are as wide as the day is long, and you don't think about that for young women. Yeah. And it's cool. I just think we live in the coolest time.
We do. We really do. We have, literally, when I see what you're doing and what that actually does for my little girls, my nieces, like my oldest niece is 13 now, like heading into this crazy kind of time in life. But I just think of they're seeing pioneers like you just walking out on stage in front of 5 presidents, just kind of living your dream, like what you see your dream as. It's so important because it allows us to step outside of kind of the norms. Because if you look at where we live, and there's some great people in our area, but I feel we just need more people almost doing the impossible. Yeah. In order to
what's considered.
Yeah, what's considered, right?
What's considered the impossible. I think that I was at an event last night here in Nashville, and it's an organization called Play Like a Girl. And it's all about athleticism and how a lot of teenage girls around the age of between 12 and 14 stop playing sports. And there's kind of this time. And so they're bringing awareness to the opportunities through sports for women, and also how that translates in the boardroom, and how many CEOs have a sports background. And it was just really fascinating, because I had never had conversations about the impact of sports on my life as a little human, I'm so music and horses, obviously. And horses. Sure. I'm a big horse person. I've been riding.
My niece would flip out. They all ride horses. They all ride horses. Yep.
Yeah. So it was interesting, because as a little kid, soccer was my sport. And I found that, I could play on the boys team, which was, I wasn't afraid to get like pushed around a little bit because I pushed back. And so I played soccer, and then I coached with my mom, my little brother's team. So it was interesting to have these conversations of how, teamwork and sports and music and life, and it all makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. That's really cool. And the
really
lessons
cool.
that it teaches you, that's really awesome.
Yes. Yeah.
What do you find gets you into flow state? Flow state meaning focused, ready to rock, and productive in your day. Is there something that you do in order to get into that state?
Yes. Well, there's a few different things. So it depends on the day.
Okay.
Every morning though, without it, like it is a must before I put my feet on the ground, is I have a little prayer meditation of gratitude.
Love it.
And setting up my day to be a success, and success can mean anything, like getting through the day without being impacted by stress in a way that's hindering to my health. That is success.
Yeah.
And success has so many different things. So it could be a little teeny tiny success, or it could be a ginormous, like, holy cow, this just happened success, So I think that's really, it's just a beautiful way to set up your day. I love, I'll usually balance going for a run or going to yoga. Like I switch them back and forth. I love throwing on my running shoes and going outside, and I'll be the one singing.
Love it.
Like
while you're running,
when it's like 20 degrees outside, like wrapped up like a marshmallow man. So I can keep it warm. Yeah. No, I love it. But that's cool. I don't ever go, this is either going to go bad or this is going to go good. I don't ever say that. Yeah. I'm like, everything's going to be great.
That's cool.
If everything's great, then you kind of like, you get in the mentality that it's going to be great.
You're right. You're right. It really is. It really is. That is a habit in and of itself, right? For sure. Getting that outlook on life is so important.
And then the people around you have to believe that too. That's really important. And that is something that I find myself, like, sometimes I'll get a little intense about, from the standpoint of, if you don't believe this, if that is not something that is your, life's breath, if you don't feel like that can-do attitude is your attitude, then we might not be the right fit, and that is okay. Yeah. I think being able to take the personal out of it, and just, if you got to gel, and you all have to want, that I feel like that, I don't know, that just way of thinking, it's, you kind of either do or you don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
what do you think is for you is like one of the top attributes of a good leader or a great leader?
I think that probably a couple. You have to be able to listen, and listen when it's not what you want to hear. And then I think that, there's a great book called Leaders Eat Last.
Yeah, it's by Simon Sinek, right?
Yes. And I think that mentality of, that when you lead from behind and it's a collaborative effort, it's not a dictatorship, those make great leaders. I think that's super important.
Yeah. So true.
Yeah.
Speaking of habits, so this is a little bit of a harder question, and you may not be prepared for it, but I'm going to ask it anyway. What was the last habit you formed, and why?
The last habit I formed, and why, would have to be the recognition of my reaction to stress.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Living that in real time.
Yep.
And really making a concerted, conscious effort to not let something throw me off.
Yep.
And it could, and I hope that as people are watching this, I'm a business owner, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a musician. I have a lot of different things coming at me a lot of the time. And I have a great team around me supporting a lot of those, and being able to, help navigate that. It's a choice. Everything is a choice. How we react is a choice. And that has been my greatest current lesson of, like, my Jedi Knight skills are, I'm working them in real time.
Love it. Do you use, when it comes to your team,
I love them.
I was going to say, do you use any, so like, do you use the Colby test? Do you use any type of personality test to figure out, okay, I'm going to work well with this person. How does this person work, et cetera? Or you just say like, hey, interview went great, bring it on. What's your process?
Well, it's not just me that makes that decision, because again, I feel like, you know, I'm on the road, and I think where I very much have learned to maybe not make a decision quickly is with musicians that I work with on stage.
Right.
Because I think sometimes, you know, people, I mean, I'm very much me, like out the gate. You know, I'm not very like, so,
I didn't get that. Just for the note, I did not get that at all.
But so I found that I tend to find I pause more than immediately react. One thing interesting though for me is that my gut feeling about people from different aspects, I find that my gut doesn't lie. Mm-hmm. I think all of us have this beautiful innate intuition, and you have to learn to read yourself. Yeah. And so I recognize that. And then what I'll tend to do, whereas maybe a few years back, I'd be like, nope. Yeah. You know, now I'm like, okay, I kind of do like a self-assessment. Why do I feel this way? What is it triggering? What am I feeling? What am I sensing? Is it a past experience that I'm bringing into this one that's unfair to the person sitting across from me? Or is there something fundamentally just not right here? Right. And I think we have a really good, like, our team is so tight, and we all have the same mentality, that we have the same, you know, for the most part, we have the same experience when meeting new people and bringing new people in. It's really important to check your gut, I think. And if there's something off, sometimes you don't have to know why. And I used to be like a detective. I'd be like, I must understand. You know, and I would like get like really, and then, you know, time is so important. It's our most precious commodity, that I've learned to trust myself and my gut and the people that I trust the most around me, and vetting and doing your homework. You have to do your homework. You know, I don't go into anything blind, but yeah, and just be like, okay, this is just, it's not the person. Yeah. Yeah. You know, and then when it's like, when my gut's like screaming, then I kind of, you know, I'll spidey sense is going on. I'll shore that up a little bit and be like, we don't need to do this. Yes. I love it. And I do go a lot off my gut. There's a book called Good to Great by Jim Collins. I don't know if you've read that one. It is up on my shelf. Hello. Okay. So sweet. Good is because I was going to send it to you. Great. Right. And there's a quote in the book that blew me away. It's the right vision with the wrong people is irrelevant. Boom. And that blew me away because, you know, in my growth as an entrepreneur, I feel like, you know, whether I'm on board with somebody else's vision or they're on board with mine, whatever it is, whatever it looks like, I feel like when it comes to the right people now in my life more than ever, and you'll probably agree with this, it's like the right people are the ones who don't even really know the vision that much. They're just excited to do it together. Right? It's like there may be some haze involved, like where we're going on the ship, but like everybody's just pumped to be together. They're like, let's just rock, like we get along, you know. And I don't think you can teach passion. Right. I think passion is it's a good word. That's why it goes back to really being sure of what you want, you know, and sometimes knowing what you don't want is more important than knowing what you want. Going to what you said, you know, when that passion is followed by crisp execution and results, there is nothing more
Feels so good.
intoxicating.
Oh,
Yes.
feels so good.
It's amazing. And
way better than coffee, right?
It's the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
Because it's that collective energy and hard work and all that good stuff. You know, I think the greatest gift is being able to earn your place.
Yes.
You know,
So true.
And you carry that much differently than when things are handed to you.
So true. So true.
Yeah.
So last thing here is, because this has been an awesome conversation.
You're so awesome. Thank you for wanting to talk to.
I mean, thank you, Miss 5 President woman. But seriously, you know, it's refreshing, you know, to meet someone like you and just really see, you know, all the things that you're doing. Yet at the end of the day, it's like you come back to your core of like, this is your heartbeat. Like you're doing this because it's your heartbeat. And I think that's so awesome. If you could pick one action step for the listeners today to take from our conversation, what would it be?
Wow. Well, I would have a list because I go on and on. One step. I could go so many directions right now.
You can go 2 or 3 if you want.
I think I would start with if you do not like yourself, nothing will change until you figure out that why and you change it. And to go into the mirror and look at yourself and accept yourself and love yourself for all your good, bad challenges, lessons. I don't like calling them regrets. Whatever it is that makes you you, I think when you can own that and love that where it is, that's when your whole world explodes open in the most glorious way. So everything else that comes after that will come after that. But that, if you don't like yourself and love yourself we got to get to that first.
I'm just being silent. Like that's got to hit.
Okay.
That's so true.
Yeah.
That's got to hit. I mean, at the core of everything, you're right. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Super important.
Man. Stephanie, this has been awesome.
Yay, I'm so glad.
I mean, awesome for me. Like I just, you know, this is just an invigorating conversation, right? Everybody, it's like at least once in our day, it doesn't have to be long, but just, this is what life's all about. Like have these invigorating conversations that renew your sense of purpose. Like I feel like I have a renewed sense of passion about what I do just from talking to you, right? I do.
I love that.
Yeah, I really do. Thank you very much.
That's
yeah,
awesome.
Absolutely.
Well, I hope everyone watching gets a similar experience and just takes the opportunity to just, grab this life by, like with everything you've gotten it.
Yes.
Go for it.
Yes.
Just no reason to not.
There's not. There's really not.
Not that. I don't even
just go for it.
But you know what I mean.
I love it. That's another Twitter line. If people want to learn more about what you're doing, who you are, where can they go to learn more? For
sure. So stephaniequayle.com is my website, all things. We have my tour dates and different organizations that I'm involved in, like the American Heart Association with the Go Red for Women movement, which is awesome. The Far From Ugly campaign is rocking and rolling right now. So if you get the chance to see that video, it's really, it's special. It is not pretty. Yeah. It is beautiful because the women in this video show such raw vulnerability. And I think that is the most gorgeous thing anyone can ever share with the world. Of course, social media, I'm obsessed with it. So,
are you? Okay.
Instagram, I do respond. When I get messages, it is coming from me.
You do?
I do.
Hence our communication.
Yes, that's how we happened.
Boom.
And of course, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, all that fun stuff. And all good.
Awesome.
Thank you. Thank you for taking the time.
Thank you.
Very much.
And to everybody out there, thank you so much for jumping on with me and Stephanie Quayle. And please, go check this amazing woman out. Get to her concerts if you can. She's rocking stages all across the U.S. Some big things coming down the pike, even more than she's already done, which is amazing. And to everybody out there, just remember that you already are superhuman. Everything that you need is already inside of you. and that you've been given outrageous potential to change the world. So will you come with us and do it with us? Let's grab each other by the arms and do it together. We'll see you next time.
I love that so much.
See you soon. Bye, everybody.